Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Ming of Revolution, Karmelo's Dream Team. The races are pissed. Before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform. Y'all, well, revolution is a way of life, and revolution is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Depending on what time you woke up this morning, this could be your lunch or this could be your dinner. Let's get right into it. This could be your lunch or this could be your breakfast. Let's get right into the content.
So family, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to talk about our brother Karmelo, Anthony. You know, that's still a major topic that we have to still focus on. Our good brother Karmelo, who's wrongly locked down. He is a political prisoner. We have to continue to fight for justice for our young brother. We have to let our young people know that we're not going to abandon them when the system tries to gobble them up. We have to stand on business. We have to stand up for our youths. We cannot be like these old Sambos out here bucking their eyes. He didn't need all that now. He poor little Metcalf. No. We don't. Our children don't need to see all of that buck dancing. Oh yeah, Clive Davis passed away. Yeah. I'll talk about that tomorrow. I get on that tomorrow. But as far as our brother Karmelo, new revelation, there's a new legal team, ladies and gentlemen, for Karmelo. Did y'all know that? There's a brand new legal team who's going to be working on his appeal. Did y'all hear about that? There's a whole legal team. Now, they're working pro bono. It's a whole legal team down there, and they're connected with the DNC. These are Democrat-connected law firms, which is cool. That shows the pressure of the black grassroots. We've been calling out the DNC and the NAACP, all of these people that were somewhat silent during the trial. Remember, the DNC connected people, they weren't really saying nothing during this trial. All right? Okay? They weren't really saying nothing. So now that this brother got the book thrown at him unjustly, people are looking at the DNC like, hey, what's up? So now they made an announcement today that he has a heavy hidden coalition specializing in civil rights, appellate law, criminal defense. They're going to be working on this thing pro bono. They got Gary Bledsoe from the Bledsoe law firm. They're a major player in civil rights law. He's currently the president of the Texas NAACP. All right. So many people believe his involvement is going to signal a direct challenge to the racial dynamics of the trial and the jury selection. I really need them to get on that. They're going to sit up there and get a white jury in this case like that and just excuse and strike out all the black jurors. That was some real janky shit they pulled. They got a sister named Brooke Clues, I think that's her name, and she's connected to the Ben Crump law firm. She's, from what I understand, recognized at that firm that's known for taking high-profile, racially charged civil rights cases. So that brings national media visibility and institutional pressure to the appeal process. You got this guy, Russell Law, at the law office of Russell Wilson down there. Russell Wilson, he's an expert in criminal defense and appellate strategies. You got Michael Ware, that's a criminal defense attorney down there with a strong background in post-conviction reviews. Some of these people are white, and some of these are YT people, by the way. It's black and YT people. You got Sean Dia, I think he's Punjabi. So they said he's a high-level criminal defense and appellate strategist lawyer. And it's interesting to see how this thing is going to go down. It's interesting to see how it's going to go down, ladies and gentlemen. But these are supposed to be some high-powered heavy hitters that's involved with the case now. These are supposed to be some hitters. And that's good. It's not a complaint. That is good, ladies and gentlemen. That is good. We need that because what we don't need are these goofball opportunists and trolls out here basically trolling the family for clout. Yeah, another guy they got is a cat named Justin Moore. He's a civil rights attorney down there. Excuse me. Okay, I'm getting these weird people trying to get on. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to play out. See, here's the thing, man. The black grassroots, these folks are getting involved now. The black grassroots, ladies and gentlemen, made silence too expensive. People, you couldn't just sit it out. All of these people who were very vocal about immigration, all these law firms, when it was immigrants, boy, these DNC connected law firms were out here doing flips and cartwheels for non-citizens. But when you have a high profile case of a foundational black American getting railroaded like this, and they sit up here and do nothing, no, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable in any sense of the damn word. So they realize they got to get off that ass and get out here and do something, man. And this is a hot topic that's not going anywhere. This topic is not going anywhere. Everybody's talking about it, and it is election season, and people just can't afford to be silent no more, especially when you are out here extremely loud and visible about other groups. And then you want to sit on your ass about your damn voter base, the people who you're always trying to shame. See, oh, no. Y'all always cursing us out and sending fat ass rolling out here to tell us how stupid we are if we don't vote for the DNC and all that. Oh no, y'all are gonna look real crazy. Y'all gonna look real crazy sitting on your hands not doing nothing. So understand, the black grassroots said, hey, y'all gonna have to do something. Y'all got to step it up. You understand? That pressure created a political cost. So now once that cost got too high, here comes the heavy hitters. That's good. I don't have a problem with it. Some people look at it as like damage control after the sentence. You see, because a lot of people like, where was all this institutional power before that 35-year sentence came down? You know, that's the question. You know? Why were they not front and center from the get-go? Suddenly the cavalry shows up. Okay, that's good. Okay. But understand, election season, ladies and gentlemen, that changes everybody's posture. When election season comes around, during election season, see, black outrage becomes politically valuable. See, black pain, that becomes something these institutions, they gotta manage. And the black people are looking at the DNC connected legal and civil rights establishment saying, okay, y'all sat this out. That's going to create a problem for voter enthusiasm. You know, you can't keep asking us to show up at the polls while you are missing in action when our children are getting railroaded by the damn system. And then y'all standing outside of the damn ICE detention centers acting a fool, and you're getting yourself arrested, and you're doing all of these civil rights gestures, and you want to sit this out. That was a bad look. Let's be real. That was a horrible look for them. And the DNC connected ecosystem, they can't afford another one of those we only care when it's useful moments. You know, this is bigger than one law firm or one attorney. This is a whole ecosystem we're talking about. All of these civil rights organizations, DNC connected attorneys, political operatives, these so-called legacy black institutions, the donor class, nonprofits, all of these people. These are all DNC orbited people. They orbit around the Democratic Party, whether officially or unofficially. And when the grassroots says, hey, man, you guys are only loud when it helps Democrats, you're going to have to respond. You see? So the grassroots shifted this case from a local courtroom issue to a national Black political issue. Our brother Karmelo Anthony is a political prisoner. He's a political prisoner. And before all this pressure, this could have been treated as like a local Texas criminal case, but the Black grassroots reframed it. We said, no, this is about self-defense. This is about jury exclusion. This is about unequal punishment. This is about racial fear. This is a political lynching, ladies and gentlemen. Our brother Karmelo is a political prisoner. And we're just not going to let our brother go out like that. And we're going to keep making noise about it. And all of these other so-called legacy organizations, they got to get on board. You understand? And they understand the danger of Black independent media controlling the narrative, because everybody's coming over to us to hear what's going on. All right? Everybody's coming over here to the Black grassroots media because we get it, you getting it rough and raw from us. It ain't sanitized. It ain't whitey washed. We're going to tell the truth about everything. And these legacy organizations, they're used to being the gatekeepers. In this case, no. Independent Black voices were the ones pushing the hardest, and those are the ones that's getting the numbers. Our channels are getting the numbers. That's a threat to the political establishment, because the Black people are saying, hey, man, we don't need you to tell us what injustice looks like. And these organizations, they lose control of the narrative. So when they step in now, part of it may be for legal help, which is good, but sometimes it might just be for narrative containment. They got to control the narrative now, you see. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how it plays out. All right, family, y'all hop on in. Let me talk to the family. Y'all raise your hands. Let me get you in here early. Let's see what's on your mind. Let's get the family in here early. And y'all hit the screen. And that picture of me up there, that's me in Vegas last week at the slot machine. They robbing me at the slot machine over there. All right, let's get who we got? Ishmael. Let's get Ishmael in here. Mr. Ishmael in the building. Ishmael.
What it is, fam?
Hey, brother, how you doing, Ishmael?
I'm good, man. I just took offense to this man David Alawale talking about like our accent is a subservient accent. That threw me right there.
Oh yeah. A lot of people called him out on that. And the fact that he was so comfortable with saying that, he didn't even, that's just how they talk when they get around each other, man. That's some heavy shit. They talk like that. I know how he mispronounced that name. I'd be mispronouncing his name too. But yeah, that's what is, they talk like that when they get around each other. Yeah. Those are the little dining room conversations they have about us all the time. All right, let me see who we got. Y'all raise the hands. Let me get the family in here early. Let me get that family in here early, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see what's on your mind. Alistair. Let's get Alistair in here. Alistair, hop on in, sir. Alistair, hop on in.
Hey, what's going on, Flex? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for staying on top of this Karmelo Anthony story and everything else.
Yes.
Now, the only concern I have is that I hope these lawyers are not there just to try to reduce his sentence to manslaughter.
Oh yeah.
No, he needs to be free. He should be free for that because, according to there were other witnesses that were not brought up in this trial. There were 4 people that jumped him.
Yeah.
So there were 4 people that jumped him and everything else, and they were never called to the witness stand at all. And one of the guys who invited him and everything else became the modern day, became the Judas on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Flex, I just want to say thank you and everything else. Afro Elite, if y'all hearing me, thank you for bringing up this story and keep this up and everything. We got to keep this heat going on and everything else. I'm on land in my plane.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Got to keep that heat up.
We'll work for you. Nah, nothing else will do. I got that root work for you.
It wasn't over. In fact, most of us, reasonable people, knew that it wasn't over. Ain't no way you're going to be able to just string that brother up like that and railroad him like that in front of the whole world and think there ain't going to be some pushback. And I'm talking about pushback. You get it? Yeah, fam. So anyway, here we go. So we got a team of leading appellate civil rights and criminal defense attorneys who announced today that it has taken on the case of Karmelo Anthony, who was recently sentenced to 35 years following his murder conviction in the death of Austin Metcalf. The team serving pro bono will review the trial record and pursue all available avenues of appeal. I ain't got no problem with that. Some of y'all do, so let's talk about it. Leading the effort, let's get into it, fam. And by the way, I came across this story on Tesla and Figaro. Shouts out to Tez. Tez was the first one to alert me of this exciting news. Yeah. So here we go, fam. Let's start off with the lead, the big guy. Yeah, who is that? That's Russell Wilson II. I mean, you know the Russell Wilson, the football player, but little did you know that there was a bad boy out there in the legal field named Russell Wilson II, who is equally as capable in his field of getting the W. You did? Russell Wilson with the law office of Russell Wilson II. Yeah, let's move on over here to the second chair. Michael Ware, law office of Michael Ware. Then we got Gary Bledsoe, the Bledsoe law firm. Yeah, see, Gary looking all inconspicuous. He got his bow tie on, but he's very dangerous in them legal streets. Yeah, y'all thought it was over. Then we got Brooke Claus with the Ben Crump law firm. Now, you know, if Ben sent her, she gonna be one of the best. She's probably the best that he have in that office. Yeah, it's going down. It's going down. Then we have Sean Deridia with the Deridia law firm. Yeah. And last but not least, Justin A. Moore for Stafford Moore, PLLC. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a dream appellate team. A dream appellate team. Yeah.
The Coons.
Yeah, y'all thought it was over. Yeah, I know I'm hurting y'all. That's why I keep on saying, yeah, because I know I'm getting under somebody's skin really bad. Yeah, y'all thought it was over. Yeah, let's get a little deeper into it. So here's a message from them collectively. Our appellate team has been retained following the conviction to conduct a fresh, independent review of the trial record. We recognize the profound loss suffered by one young man's family and the uncertainty facing another. And we extend our respect to everyone whose lives have been forever changed by these events. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that
See, this is what we've been waiting on, because the bigots and the coons was counting on the shaming the family, they not being able to afford no legal defense. So they wanted the boy to get some court-appointed lawyer and get washed up again. This though wrenching their plans, and I believe somebody who put this boy who arrested this boy and got this boy convicted. I believe somebody gonna go to jail. Somebody could lose their license. This they're gonna make a movie about how unjust this was one day. Remember that.
every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal. The appellate process exists for precisely this purpose. Let me go back to one of my favorite sentences. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal. Yeah. It ain't just one error. It ain't just two. Say, fam, I don't even consider these errors. I look at what happened to Karmelo as gross negligence. Yeah, some might even say criminal. Yeah, man. Yeah, because his lawyers straight up sold him out, threw him under the bus. Talk about poor representation. Hell, I could have done a better job than that. I know for one thing, I would have fought for him. I would have been up all day, all night. I can imagine what his lawyers was doing while this stuff was going on. They probably was just, them dudes probably didn't even look at nothing. They probably, so he did what? They probably all in the bathroom taking a leak at the park somewhere after playing pinochle or something. Wait a minute. Okay, you say what? You say you was a witness. You say you're a witness and you saw everything. Hey, look here, man. I'm gonna call you back. Never hear from him again. I don't trust him. I do not trust him. I do not trust the process. How you gonna give a kid who got into a fight, that was not premeditated, 35 years in prison, even for murder, 35 years. I shouldn't say this, but I gotta say this to prove my point. My uncle killed his wife. Horrible thing that happened. I'm talking about horrible. He caught his wife in bed with another man while he was supposed to be where she thought he was still on the road, handling business. He came home early. He heard the noises. He went to his closet, pulled out his shotgun, and took her out. The guy jumped out of the window. Guess how much time he did? 10 years. 10 years, and he was back at home. Now, he was a fully grown man at the time. A fully grown man. I think he was in his 40s. Yeah, 40s or 50s. Fully grown man. Someone who should have had a better understanding about life and rejection and conflict resolution than Karmelo, who was a 17-year-old kid at the time. And he was in Texas, by the way. This happened in Texas. Just like Karmelo's situation happened in Texas. And you give a kid 17 years? But you give a grown-ass man who's in his 40s or 50s 10 years, who had time to think about what he was going to do, who had time to think about it. I mean, it wasn't but a few seconds, but he had time. When he heard it, he went straight to the closet, got the gun, and boom. His life,
plenty of cases.
I think it's fair to say.
One of my partners killed my other partner, which was hard for me when I was in prison. One of my partners killed my other partners. You know, there's a few things had went on. They gave him 17 years. You see what I'm saying? That's how much the system didn't like me and didn't like the crew. They was trying to get the man hit, but they gave the man 17 years. That's why that 35 for Karmelo was outrageous. This was a dude who had been to prison several times, known drug dealer. You know, gave him 17 motherfucking years. That Karmelo sentence is disrespectful as hell.
To say was not remotely in danger, but he only did 10 years in prison, and he's not the only one. There is so many people out there who have gotten little to no sentence for crimes of passion.
Salute, salute.
35 years, no, man. And see, that's where they really messed up at. If they would have found him guilty and just hit him on the light side with a 5-year sentence, I think a lot that would still have been outrage. But I think the fact that it was a strong argument there, and they gave him 35 years, that is what really pissed people off. That's in your face. We don't give a damn if he's guilty. We don't give a damn if he's innocent. We don't give a damn if he's a kid. We don't care nothing about him. We're going to throw him away, throw him in the system. That's what really pissed people off. That's what really pissed me off. So now they didn't got exposed. Their little town, Collin County would have been okay. They might have been okay if they wasn't so blatant with it. Yeah, they probably would have gotten by with it if they wasn't so blatant with it. See, they've been acting like this. They've been doing the good old boy thing and doing whatever the hell they want to do. Now this is just Karmelo's case. Imagine how many Black people who have been buried through their criminal justice system before Karmelo. Karmelo is just the one who got the exposure, and the world got to see. That's why they didn't want to have the cameras in the courtroom, because they didn't want the world to see what they was doing. Yeah, that's why they didn't have the cameras inside the courtroom. They did not want the world to know what they were doing. I want to get into some of these, a little deeper into the lawyer's background, right? This is some of the lawyer's background. Well, not some of them, but all of them. So Gary Bledsoe has served as president of the Texas NAACP since 1991 and as a member of the NAACP National Board of Directors since 2003. An Austin-based attorney, he is admitted to practice before the U.S. Supreme Court and the Fifth Circuit Courts of Appeal. Served as acting dean of the Thurgood Marshall School of Law in the great state of Texas, in this great city of Houston, at Texas Southern University, and earned his JD from the University of Texas School of Law, where he is a permanent class officer. His earlier litigation and advocacy helped dismantle barriers that had kept minorities and women out of the Texas Rangers and to provide video and body cameras for Austin police. His awards include the Johnny Cochran Trailblazer Award of the Minority Caucus of the Civil Rights Section of the AAJ and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Bar Association. A Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Bar Association, Michael L. Ware. He is a board certified criminal law since 1990, with 4 decades of trial and appellate experience in state and federal courts. He founded the first conviction integrity unit in the United States while serving in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Yeah, we got somebody that knows his way around that District Attorney's Office. He is a 2-time Percy Foreman Criminal Defense Lawyer of the Year. He is a Champion of Justice Award recipient from the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. He was inducted into the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Hall of Fame in 2025. We got a Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Hall of Fame on deck. Yeah, it's going down. Brooke Claus serves as a litigation attorney and the chief of staff to Ben Crump Esquire, a skilled civil rights attorney and former public defender in Houston, Texas. She advocates for the disenfranchised and fights to safeguard her clients' equal protection under the law. Ms. Claus also provides legal commentary on employment discrimination and workplace equity and has won successful verdicts on several high-profile civil rights cases. I'll say that again. She's won several successful verdicts on a civil rights high-profile cases. Several verdicts. She has won several successful verdicts on several high-profile civil rights cases. Sean Deridia. He is a nationally recognized criminal defense trial attorney, nationally recognized, with over 100 jury trials under his belt. 100 jury trials under his belt. His practice focuses primarily on murder and capital murder, so he knows what he's doing. He secured a full acquittal for his client charged in the capital murder of former University of Oklahoma and NFL player Devonta Lampkin. He further made history as a lead defense counsel in the first Tren de Aragua capital murder prosecution ever tried before a jury in the United States, a nationally covered case that ended in a hung jury. Deridia also serves as a legal analyst for NBC, providing commentary on high-profile criminal cases. Yeah, boy, we got some hitters over here. Yeah. Justin Moore is a trial lawyer focused on criminal defense, post-conviction advocacy, and complex litigation. Now, don't we have some complex litigation going on? And this is a post-conviction thing happening right now. I'll call Justin the cleanup man. This is post-conviction advocacy. That means that somebody got done dirty. Somebody went to trial, took it to trial, got convicted. And Justin said, that's messed up, man. Nah, that ain't right. I don't think that's right. I'm gonna fight for you. His work includes state and federal clemency matters and advocacy related to the pardon of Marcus Garvey and Larry Hoover's clemency, and involvement in the effort to overturn Crystal Mason's voter fraud conviction. He has represented clients in high-profile criminal and civil rights matters, including securing the acquittal of a teenager charged with and falsely accused of capital murder. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. There you have the records of the people involved. Oh, I missed the lead. I guess it was hiding from me. But here's the lead. I missed Russell Wilson.
Now, man.
This is the lead attorney on the case. He is a Dallas trial and appellate attorney who has been board certified in criminal law since 2003 and licensed in Texas since 1995. In 2011, he was selected to direct the Dallas County District Attorney's Conviction Integrity Unit, described at its founding as the first of its kind in the nation, and has argued state and federal cases at both the trial and appellate levels over a career spanning 3 decades. He leads the law office of Russell Wilson. Let me say that again right here. This is my favorite sentence right here. In 2011, he was selected to direct the Dallas County District Attorney's Conviction Integrity Unit. Now, I'm sure when he did that, when he directed the unit, as he was directing the unit, before he started directing the unit, he did something like this. I swear to uphold all ethics regarding the conviction integrity unit. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Y'all thought it was over. Y'all thought it was over. It ain't over. Karmelo Anthony coming home. That's right, he coming home. Now, we can't obviously you can't put a date on it, but here's the thing about the legal system, fam. When you're in the right, a lot of times the system gets it wrong. It's so many people been buried by this system. A lot of times the system gets it wrong. But if you got some people behind you dedicated to freeing you, and you right, if you got some people dedicated to your cause, I'm talking about some capable people, legal experts, dedicated, passionate about fighting for justice. Do you know sometimes it ain't even necessarily about fighting for you? It's about justice. Some lawyers really do care about justice. So when they see something wrong with the system, if somebody try to take advantage of the system, if they find corruption, they want to do it for the sake of upholding the integrity of the system, of the judicial system. So if they see something bad going on, they want to fix that. And if you happen to be the catalyst for them doing that, then so be it. But it ain't nothing like having people that believe in you and that want to fight for you and they're passionate about it. And every last one of these people on board got something on the line. They got something on the line. They have their integrity and they have their careers. They're winners. And they want to keep on winning. And something like this, with all of the mistakes they made, oh yeah, they're absolutely gonna fix this. They absolutely gonna make this work out. Believe that. I know some of y'all thought it was over. It ain't over. That's why some of y'all so mad. Y'all mad because people like me are in Karmelo's corner. Y'all mad because y'all don't want us to say nothing because y'all think the more we talk, the more influence we might have. And it might just get to the ears of some people that want to do something about it. It might just get to the ears of the people who railroaded him. And they might decide, you know what? Okay, let's just let this thing ride. Yeah. It might get to the ears of a decent judge who see it for what it is and say, you know what, man? Nah, not on my watch. Not on my watch. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all don't like that.
All right, I got an update for you guys. You guys going to want to see this video of Carmelo Anthony. Okay, so everybody is looking at the video and they are pointing out stuff that we've never seen before. They are pointing out that it was several people that was jumping Carmelo Anthony under the tent. They are saying if you look closely, they have close-up shots now, and the close-up shots show that the guys walked right over to Carmelo and started to put hands on him, and they edited a little bit, and then next thing you know, Carmelo pops out the tent. So I want you guys to check what these guys have to say about this. I want to know your thoughts. I want you to comment if you agree, if you disagree. I just want to say thank you, Eastsiders, for liking and sharing and subscribing to this YouTube channel, and I really appreciate you all. All right, so let's watch that video.
Secret Service Sam here for the Carmelo Anthony trial update. And here's something that some people are pointing out online about the video, that we are looking at the wrong thing. We are seeing the altercation under the tent, but they are pointing out that Austin actually has an altercation with Carmelo, but then you can see him stop. And then there is still other boys who appear to be hitting Carmelo. Then Carmelo, you see him pop out of the tent, and then we see Austin stand there, and then he falls. And I think this proves that it was self-defense, because like a lot of people who saw the actual video that was clear, claimed that he was jumped by 4 different people. It was not just Austin Metcalf. Now, we know that one white woman who said she saw the video, she allegedly said that he fell onto the knife. Is this still a possibility? Now, what I think is this has to be self-defense, and people might call me crazy for thinking this way, but the fight seemed to start where he was, you know, they said it was a linebacker where he pushed him up. And I'm thinking that could be where the knife, stabbing potentially happened. And then the other boys were still jumping Carmelo. As you heard in the police footage, he was hysterical and he was saying they wouldn't leave him alone. They kept coming after him, basically. And then you see Austin fall. You know, this is all a terrible situation, but it does seem that there is more to this story than was told inside that courtroom. If you look at this video, you can see him off to the side and you can see other punches thrown. Now, previously, everybody thought that was where the altercation originally with Austin happens. But if you see, Austin falls after the altercation and then Carmelo gets out of the tent. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president of the world.
So the video came out that supposedly shows Carmelo Anthony stabbing Austin Metcalf, except you can't see the stab. But what you can see and what they want you to believe, and when I was trying to go by what they were trying to make us believe, I was assuming that they altered the video because it couldn't have shown what they're trying to make us believe. And everybody's saying, you see the shove, and then you see the kind of like a shove back, and they said that's when the stabbing must have happened. And then you see Carmelo dip up out of the bleachers, right? But it couldn't have went down the way that they're trying to narrate to you as you're listening to the video, unless you look at it like this. What color hoodie was Carmelo wearing? Light gray. Now go back and watch the video, and this is what you'll see. You'll see black colored or dark.
Revolutionary salute to our Yaya's kids for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute.
Colored shirts or hoodies that are surrounding, you can't see Carmelo because Carmelo's sitting down. So when you go watch the video, look at it this way. There's the guy that you're saying the shove, okay? He's not shoving from your left to your right. He's shoving, he's on your left. He's shoving in a downward angle to the right because Carmelo's sitting down. The other dark colored shirt that you see, it looks like Carmelo flew into him and that dude shoved him back to what I'm going to assume is Austin. And that's when the stabbing happened. because that's why when you look at the video, it looks like Karmelo just appears out of nowhere. He flies up a flight of them bleachers, and then he's running down. But where the hell did he come from in the video? You can't see him the whole time because he's sitting down. So listen to me. On your left, when you're looking at the video, it's to our left as we're watching. The dark colored shirt shoves in a downward angle to the right. There's another guy in a dark colored shirt to the right of Karmelo, or to the left of Karmelo, but to our right. He gets Karmelo shoved into him. He shoves him back. They're jumping him. They're jumping him. Go watch the video.
The boy was in fear for his life.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. He put his hands on me.
You can see in the video where the 6 boys were on their way over to where the tent was. And as you can see, all 6 of those boys went straight up to where Karmelo was sitting inside of that tent, which is exactly what the witnesses stated when they said they saw the original video. Now, why didn't they say that in the court hearing about the 6 boys that walked up to Karmelo Anthony? Now, as you can see here, they've all surrounded Karmelo at this point, which is probably very intimidating to have 6 boys surrounding you. Now, if you just continue to watch right here, you'll start to see that there's some.
I don't know which is which, but you can clearly see the twins. Where I have the first arrow, you're gonna see. I would say it's Hunter because he wasn't the one that pushed, but you're gonna see him kind of like grab something and go in like right under the arrow. Just watch. It's gonna be like aggressive, like you could tell he grabbed something. See, he grabbed it. Then you're gonna see Austin punch or push in just a second. And then he's gonna make one more movement towards Karmelo, and then boom. See right there. And that's it. Karmelo runs. You clearly see.
Thank God he was able to do something. Okay, if it was a white boy being jumped by 6 black boys, they would call him a hero. This boy was being attacked. Stand your ground, self-defense. They did the case fast. They made sure they had no black jurors. They make sure they didn't have evidence. Karmelo will be set free. There are about to be a lot of situations happening in America right now.
For the people who keep saying why he didn't fight them fair, first of all, it's not a fair fight. These are 2 twin brothers, and it wasn't just the 2 brothers. Now we found out after we seen the footage, it was 2 twin brothers and a tent full of their buddies. On top of weight classes exist for a reason. If professional fighters have weight classes because weight and height makes a factor in a fight, what makes you think this little untrained Karmelo Anthony is supposed to fight 2 kids that are twice his size? Karmelo Anthony like 7'5", 8, 100-something pounds. These 2 twin brothers, 6'2", 6'3", over 200 plus pounds. That's over 400 pounds against 100-something pounds. Literally twice his size. He's supposed to fight a whole tent of people because y'all think it's right? No, nigga. Feel my life is in danger. I'm getting cracking and I'm getting up out of there. Period.
And it was crazy. Majority of the people that be saying all that probably never been in a fight in their life. Probably won't even squabble nothing. And the same type of people that wouldn't put their hands or bust a grape in a fruit fight. That's why I don't be getting from them. He could squabble or whatever the case. Y'all don't know how that man grew up. Y'all don't know if he was really a good boy. Whatever the case it may be, he might not have the heart to do that, or just wasn't in his favor. None of y'all niggas is squabbling on the bleachers. Nigga that big will slam you on your shit, and you never know what could happen. Nigga, he probably really felt like his life was in danger. Nigga, the first thing the boy admitted was said they tried to get him and everything else. Like he never even he asked that, was the boy okay? So y'all act like the nigga had no empathy for the nigga or whatever. But first thing he said, they tried to attack him. They got aggressive with him, and they got up on him
on that body cam,
on the body foot.
He said they put their hand. He put his hands on me. I told him not to put his hands on me. He put his hands on me. So, and that's raw emotion right after it happened. So it's not like he sat there, thought of a lie. No, this is the cops right there on the scene, and he said he put his hands on me and admitted he did it. So come on, bro. And y'all keep saying, why was he in a tent? Why was he there? What the fuck you mean? Why was he there? This is a track meet.
And on top of that,
I don't need a reason to be there other than I want to be there.
And on top of that, didn't they say the weather was messed up and all that?
No, it was raining, but I'm like the dumbass questions about why you're asking why a teenager who goes to the school is at the school track meet. What the fuck do you mean? I don't need a reason. I'm at the track meet. What are you talking about? Oh, why didn't he leave when they told him to leave? No, wrong question. Why did they feel they had the authority and power to tell another student to leave and their students? Why didn't they go get the staff? Why did they think they could put their hands on them to remove them? They're not staff. They're not police. Why are y'all not asking those questions?
Right.
We already know why. Fuck out of here. Free Karmelo.
Still hanging around me. I'm like, why are you hanging around me? If you don't like me, move on. They can't do it. They can't do it because they are hate watchers. You're a hate watcher. I know, I see you. It's all good, man. A view is a view is a view is a view. We're going to jump off into it tonight, man. I'm trying to think. I guess I'll save it. I will save it. Let's get off into the boogie. Let's get off into the breakdown. Yeah, let's not play games with it. Some of you may agree with me and some of you may not agree with me, but we're going to jump right into this Screaming A. Smith clip. Let's see where this goes. The wicked mouth of, what's he from, New Jersey or New York? Where's he from? Screaming A. Smith. Gotta do it, gotta do it.
A criminally negligent homicide as opposed to manslaughter or murder. Karmelo Anthony went the route of self-defense through the advice of his lawyers and ultimately ended up being convicted of first-degree murder. As far as I'm concerned, it wasn't a jury of his peers because there was nobody black on the jury. I got all of that. There's nobody black on the jury. That's not a jury of your peers, even though there's no law that stipulates your peers means that your ethnicity has to be shared. I do understand that. But I think it would be nice if you're going to call it a jury of your that shares your pigmentation, your hue, your ethnicity. I think that's fair, in my opinion. But again, no laws were violated in terms of the makeup of that jury. Having said all of that, the reason why this point is relevant right now is because of a very uncomfortable truth. The uncomfortable truth is that, once again, we find ourselves dropping the ball a little bit, dare I say. His lawyer, who was that going to be? Did we do our due diligence? The makeup of the jury, did we do our due diligence? The charges that were ultimately going to be filed against him, what he was indicted for, what he was going to be prosecuted for. Did we have the right people in place to make sure that that wasn't putting Karmelo Anthony at a considerable advantage? Did we do all of those things?
Look,
I had to go run and check it on the file real quick, but what is Stephen A. Smith talking about? Yeah, it doesn't seem like Stephen A. Smith knows what he's talking about at all, does it? Nah, it seems like Stephen A. Smith is just talking out his ass. I'm sorry. Look, we got to clean up the language. Fam. I feel like we got a guy that just, he sees something's trending and he's got to jump in and say something because he wants viewership. Because he's got nothing to say. Nothing at all. He's going to say both sides of every argument. He's going to be on both sides. I don't know why. Look, if you're going to be on both sides of an argument, why even weigh in? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it don't make sense what he's saying.
Because of a very uncomfortable truth. The uncomfortable truth is that, once again, we find ourselves dropping the ball there a little bit, dare I say.
Who the hell is dropping the ball? What are you talking about? We dropping the ball. Who dropped the ball? How did we drop the ball, Stephen A. Smith? I don't understand what he's saying at all, fam. Am I getting this wrong? Wolfpack. Tim Black's Wolfpack. I know what he's talking about. How did we drop the ball? What did we do to drop the ball? See, this is a man right here who got nothing to say, but he's got to say something because that's how he gets his money, saying shit. But it doesn't make any sense because he's got nothing to say.
His lawyer, who was that going to be? Did we do our due diligence? The makeup of the jury, did we do our due diligence? The charges that were ultimately going to be filed against him, what he was indicted for, what he was going to be prosecuted for. Did we have the right people in place to make sure that wasn't putting Karmelo Anthony at a considerable advantage? Did we do all of those things? Or were we a bit late to the party in that regard?
Hold on, man.
And considering that one could argue that we were late to the party in that regard, for those who want to support Karmelo Anthony.
What? Look, guys, look, this is what I'm saying. Stephen A. Smith put this out himself a couple hours ago. I saw in the video, I'm sorry. Look, I saw in the video that he said some stuff, right? What he said was a little bit later on, right? That I wanted to speak on. I wanted to commentate on that. But this part right here, I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't know where he's coming from. This don't make sense. What do you mean? What is he going to court for? What do you mean what the charge is going to be? Is this an old clip? He just put it out now that the case is over? Because, you know, that's what the Democrats are doing. I thought this guy was a Republican now. Typically, it's the Republicans. I'm sorry. Typically, it's the Democrats who've been doing the Johnny come lately on the Karmelo Anthony story, and then they want to come out and talk. I don't know, fam. It don't make much sense. Maybe somebody in my Wolfpack, somebody in my comments in the Wolfpack, man, they'll let me know what they're talking about. Shout out to my moderators. Moderators, maybe you know what's going on. Maybe you can help me out.
Who want to act like a crime wasn't committed, who want to act like he was completely provoked, instead of bringing up the fact that he had no business having a knife at a track meet.
Okay, how many people know that Karmelo Anthony did not have a knife? How many people know that Karmelo Anthony had a cleat cleaner for his sneakers? That all the people on track have cleat cleaners. That's what he had. He did not have a knife. Even my 16-year-old son knows that. Because we had a conversation about this on Father's Day. Because I had a very long talk, a very important talk with my granddaughter and my son, my youngest son and my granddaughter about this. And he's like, Dad, no, that's not a knife, Dad. That's a cleat cleaner. I said, you know, you're right. It was a tool. He said, so it's cleats. I said, oh, now that makes sense. So my son corrected me on this. Chase. Stephen A. doesn't have staff. He doesn't have. Stephen A.'s a multimillionaire. I'm just Tim Black, one guy's show. couple dollars, a thousandaire, not a millionaire, and you would think he'd have access to information.
Instead of acknowledging the fact that he was in no real perceived danger in terms of his life being threatened, in terms of acknowledging the fact that under
his life being threatened, you know what? You don't get to determine what somebody's life is being threatened. Because I didn't think that Daniel Penny's life was being threatened. Yeah, I didn't think his life was being threatened by the emaciated homeless person with a mental issue wearing about a $1.05, soaking wet with no weapons. I didn't think that anybody on that train's life was threatened. I just thought they were uncomfortable. And that was enough to kill him, and you supported it. That's why I don't take Stephen A. serious. Neither should you. Neither should you, because when that young black man was killed on that train, a former Michael Jackson impersonator was scurried to the Marine. I didn't hear Stephen A. Smith going, I don't know why your life wasn't threatened. He didn't say anybody dropped the ball on that, did he? Because you know why he didn't say, you know why Stephen A. didn't say, you know why Stephen A. and a lot of the other conservatives would never say to the supporters of Daniel Penny that they dropped the ball? Because then they would be talking to white people. And that's where the money's at. So you're not going to say that to white people if you're Stephen A. Democrats have already made it clear they don't want his ass. And now Trump called him an idiot and a moron, a low IQ person. So he's really got nowhere to go. So it's going to be fun watching him try to be a free agent to whoever pick him up. But yeah, for the record, Stephen A. Smith did not condemn the murder of Jordan Neely. He never once said that Jordan Neely was not a threat. He never said that Daniel Penny had no reason to feel threatened, like his life was on the line. But he'll say that to a 17-year-old. It's very interesting. See what I'm saying? Y'all get where I'm coming from? All right.
no circumstances, based on the evidence of what has happened, did it warrant him stabbing somebody in the chest? If we're going to sit up there and we're going to ignore those things, here's what we can't ignore. Here's what's unavoidable.
What's unavoidable, Stephen? That you are a hack. No, I'm going to take that back. I'm not going to call you a hack. No name calling, Tim. What's unavoidable is that you're completely biased. But go ahead and make it black people's fault. Go ahead.
People are going to bring this up too.
Oh, people. Look, people are going to bring this up.
There's all this noise over what happened in Chicago on Juneteenth.
Oh, my favorite. This is what I wanted to talk about. Fam, I've been in this business well over 14 years now. And the entire time I've been in this business, you know, one thing that's been consistent? White people say this about Chicago. No matter what happens, man, I'm telling you, man, the parishioners that were shot in the Emmanuel Baptist Church, they were white conservatives, some black too, who said, what about Chicago? Yeah. When the top supermarket shooting occurred and black people just shopping, white supremacists went around shooting people that were black. Almost shot a white person, said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm only shooting Negroes today. And then proceeded to go shoot more black people. There was some people in the comments who were saying, what about Chicago? And right on time, Stephen A. Smith comes around, though he's late to the party, like you said. But that train is never late, man. The coons show up with the talking about Chicago. You know what? I know this is crazy, this conspiracy theory, and I know it's going to sound wacky, but I would not be surprised if a bunch of sellouts put money together to put money on people's head in Chicago, just so there'd be some more shooting in Chicago that they can point to try to make shooting in a whole nother state or somebody getting railroaded in the court system in a whole nother state somehow related. You know, like, when we're looking for a cure for polio, we should not look for a cure for the gout. And if we're looking for a cure of the gout, we don't have time to be worried about tuberculosis. And it's a dumbass idea because these are different states. Now, maybe if you were in the same state, Steve, maybe if you were talking about a story that happened in Chicago or in Texas, maybe then I could say, okay, yeah, maybe you're splitting time in Texas. But no, there are things happening all over the world, Stephen A., that are way bigger than one person. But if I take your train of thought, what you're saying is that we should not be worried about Karmelo Anthony because we have other people hurting in other places. People can use that all the time for anything because there's always more work at the post office. But see, when people like you, Stephen A. Smith, when they decide to pull this out their ass to distract and to give leeway, to give an out to a jacked up criminal justice system that would give a first-time offender 35 years, who was definitely provoked, definitely harassed, definitely did not swing first. Well, obviously, that person is a biased human being. And that's somebody we should take serious. You can't come back to the blacks.
What's the relevancy for that? The relevancy for that is that we're arguing and going off and expressing hell and fury.
Hell and fury. Oh. I thought we were doing our jobs. The opposite of what I've been doing. While you were covering the Knicks, I was covering this story. By the way, Stephen A., have you talked about Rick Chow yet? Yeah, Stephen A., speaking of hell and fury, have you talked about Rick Chow and the killing of Cyrus Carmack Belton? I'm just wondering. Have you had that conversation? Because that was a good one, because we got a whole Asian boycott going on. I mean, because what I don't like is Stephen A. tries to act like he's down, he supports black people. Like when Jamel Hill and Curry Champion were calling out Stephen A. for him going at Jasmine Crockett, he was quick to say, hey, man, I support black people. I've helped so many black people. He went on his I Helped the Black tour. Well, an entire 14-year-old black kid was killed by an Asian supermarket owner or convenience store owner over a football field away from his store. Pretty similar to Ahmaud Arbery. And I didn't hear you talk about it. What's going on, man? You're not getting your talking points from Bill O'Reilly yet? You're still waiting for those to come in? Because I know that's who you get your talking points from, but either him or Chris Cuomo. Because you wouldn't want to do work by yourself. Actually, look shit up. Then you might find out, instead of a knife, it was a cleat tool, a cleat cleaner tool. You might also find out that Rick Chow, he shot 3 other people before he shot Cyrus in the back. He was so afraid of Cyrus, he shot him in the back. Oh, so afraid. After chasing him down. Yeah. I'm just wondering, because, see, we cannot allow people like Stephen A. to think he has momentum in the black community. I will not allow it. I will not sit by. Whether you want to call it having hate, rage, or hell and fury. Hell and fury. Where does he get these words from? Now, what we have is a serious disagreement on the facts, a serious disagreement on priorities, and I prioritize any story where I see injustice. The people that did the shooting in Chicago, whoever those people are, they're not the same person. Whoever did that, they will be brought to justice. If they're brought to justice, they will go to jail because those people are black. I'm assuming. And black people rarely escape. They rarely escape the prison industrial system or our new slavery. Very rarely. So that's really not a concern we really have. I just saw Fulio's killers get 30 years apiece. So 4 brothers get, so being concerned that black people are going to go to jail, Stephen A., is really not an issue. Like, that's really not something to be all that concerned about. And if you are, feel free to cover it. But what you should not be able to do, what you should not do, without getting reprisal from people like me is to bring that up now while we talking about Karmelo Anthony, while we having this conversation, to bring that up now while we talking about Rick Child, while we talking about Cyrus Carmack Belton. Yeah, when we having these conversations, we don't want to hear that.
Over the conviction of a guy who acknowledged he admitted he committed the crime.
Yeah, it was never in doubt if he committed the crime, and we don't know if it was a crime, but we're never in doubt that he stabbed or that he punctured Austin Metcalf. That was never in doubt. That does not mean he murdered him. And if you don't understand that, because Daniel Penny killed a man, but did he murder him? Did he murder him? No, he didn't murder him, did he? According to the courts, he didn't do anything wrong. Rittenhouse killed somebody. Did he murder him? No, he didn't murder them, did he? So that's not in question. It was obvious that Kyle Rittenhouse shot someone, and you supported Kyle Rittenhouse. I remember. Kyle Rittenhouse shot a couple people that night. If he said, I did it, that's what he did, but did he commit murder? That was the question. I mean, you do understand these basics, right, Stephen A? See, you're proving Trump right. When Trump says you was low IQ, I thought, man, that's harsh. Now it seems like it's spot on. Also cowardly. Very cowardly, Stephen A. For you to jump the cowardly, now you're jumping over there, you're jumping over here. Nah, man, just stay over there, dog. We got it. I understand, man. You've been obvious. One thing about Stephen A. people need to realize. Stephen A. is very transparent. He has no core. He has no integrity. He has no ethics. He never has. He's been very upfront. He ain't gonna do nothing to mess up his money. He's been very crystal clear about that. And that's the only thing about Stephen A. that I respect. He's the Charleston White of news sports media. So, like, I get that. You know, he's gonna wear whatever hat he gotta wear at the time. He'll shit on Kamala Harris, but then still vote for her. He'll say the Democrats are horrible, but then say, hey, but I support him. I support him. I support him. I support him. It's a contradiction of everything. So all he does is just jump back and forth to try to get the money from the white conservatives and then run back over to black people because he needs some black people help sometimes. And then he runs back and forth. It's hilarious.
Told the police it's not alleged. I did it. Because he put his hands on me, so I did it. According to the reports. We've got people all over the place.
I don't like the way he worded that. That's not how he said it. He didn't say, I told him, he put his hands on me, so I did it. That's not what he said. In fact, he was crying. He was crying. Carmelo Anthony was in tears, crying. You could hear it. You couldn't see it. Yeah, hold on a second, man. I got a big problem with you, Stephen A. Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a big problem with Stephen A. Smith because Carmelo Anthony was, you could hear the distress in his voice. He didn't say it matter of fact, like, hey, I did it. This was not an episode of The Wire. It was a character in The Wire that shot somebody in broad daylight on something street. After he did it, he called the police and said, hey, I just shot such and such, come get him. That's how Stephen A. just said Carmelo expressed himself. It was pretty close in the same realm of the way that Stephen A. just kind of put that together, and that's not at all the reality. When we saw the tape, the audio, the tape, I didn't get that from Karmelo. He was explaining that if it wasn't for Austin attacking him, this never would have happened, is what I got from it. I don't know why Stephen A. wants to manufacture to present a narrative as if he did it like, yeah, I did it. He touched me, so I did it. That word so is doing a lot of lifting, Stephen A. A lot of lifting. Man, folks, if this guy gets a run for president, if black people, if anybody, like, I understand it's always going to be, there's a certain group of white conservatives. They'll vote for any black man who says negative shit about black people that they want to say. They love it. They admire that. This is why people like Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens have careers. Because there's conservatives that just love when they can get a black face to say what they would say and embody their ideology. And I get it, and I understand it's lucrative. But we ain't gonna sit by. I'm not gonna sit by. I'm not gonna sit by and allow this clown to put words in the mouth of a child who was 17 at the time. He did not say it like he just did some heroic thing. He did not say it as if he didn't have a cure in the world. He did not say it defiantly. He said it as an explanation for why he did it. If Karmelo Anthony were a woman, we'd all understand. Well, some of us would. Unless he was black, then it'd be a problem. It'd still be a problem because it's the blackness. Yeah. What I mean by that is to say, when I listen to that tape, I'm reminded of just how we have double standards in this country to a point where those double standards will probably never go away. I know they won't go away in my lifetime. And people like Stephen A. Smith know that too, and he's acting accordingly.
Going off, talking about police officers, talking about the court system, talking about the inequity within our legal system, et cetera, et cetera. But 39 people get shot on Juneteenth. 6 are killed. And we're not here.
I'm still trying to figure out what those things have to do with Karmelo Anthony. You know, Karmelo Anthony, this took place a couple years ago, well, 18 months ago. I think it was April 2025. Yeah, we're just, we've been dealing with this case. I've been following this case since it began. I don't know what Stephen A's been doing. Yeah, but some people shot in Chicago. Go take care of that. You Stephen A. Smith, you're a multimillionaire. Go down there and investigate. Put your money where your mouth is and go get involved, Stephen A. Smith. You've had a platform. You've been a millionaire for 20 years. You've been a millionaire, Stephen A. For 20 years, you got 3 shows. Why aren't you covering Chicago? Why aren't you helping fix Chicago? Instead of now telling us while we deal with the fallout for what we feel like was railroaded, we feel like Karmelo Anthony was railroaded. Why are you telling us to not worry about Karmelo Anthony and go worry about Chicago? Won't you go worry about Chicago? Won't you and Obama and Michelle go worry about Chicago? Won't you take some of that Stephen A. money, the ESPN money, that Sirius XM money, and go help in Chicago? Black people can't do more than one thing. It's a lot of black people. There are 44 million black people in this country. We all need to go to Chicago now? Don't worry, those black people that shot whoever they shot will go to jail for a long time, Stephen A. What we're worried about is this young man with the 4.0 grade point average who never had any run-ins with the law, not even a traffic ticket. Why all of a sudden he kirked out? That's what we call it in D.C. Why did he kirk out? See, the why is important. And that's what we want to get to see. I believe this wouldn't have happened if Austin Metcalf would not have put his hands on him. Would it did what we did, what we do here in D.C. is not put our hands on people. And there's been a couple of these people, fam, and this is for everybody. There's been a couple of these like sellout type black conservative type dudes making these excuses for Austin. I'm going to tell you something, fam. I lived in the D.C. area for a long time, and there's one particular commentator. I'm not going to say his name. I've been calling out too many people's names lately, and I don't want to promote them on my channel. That's one reason. In the black community, you cannot act as if what happened to Austin Metcalf is crazy. Fam, if you grew up in the 90s like I did, I remember when people got jumped and stomped out just for looking at the person wrong. We used to have this thing, man, when people gritted on you, you can look at somebody wrong and get beat up. You ain't got to touch it because look at a person wrong. You can look at someone's girl too long. and that'll start a fight. And you know what? That fight could escalate. Yeah, I remember going to the club in the 90s, and if you step on a brother's shoe, you better be quick to clear that up and apologize, because that could result in somebody waiting for you outside and guns going off. So this idea that putting your hands on somebody is like a lightweight thing, maybe if you grew up in Mayberry, white folks. And see, I don't like the fact I got conservatives. I got a conservative that's right here in D.C. who say, when I was in school, we used to beat each other up all the time and punch each other and do this. And, you didn't pull out a knife. Yeah, but if somebody came from another school, if you were in another school, if you were a stranger put his hands on you, where I come from, that person would get beat up, at least. People lose their lives a lot less than what Austin did. I know I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that it's justified. What I'm saying is it happens. And you can't be 1 minute claiming DC or any city, growing up anywhere in America in an inner city environment, to say you know how it rolls, you've been in this environment, and then act aloof like you don't understand. And I'm not even saying Karmelo Anthony's on that. What I'm saying is I got people making light of another person getting hands laid on them in any way aggressively by someone who's not a friend, not a sibling, not a parent, no authority on them at all, not a cop. And y'all act like that's nothing. And I'm dumbfounded. These people are not keeping it real. Now I expect certain conservative people, and we know what I'm talking about. They would never see things out my way. They would never. Because that would require too much honesty in a crash course in reality. But in the black community, if you're in the wrong hood, you can get lit up. If you're in the wrong hood and you put your hands on somebody, you get lit up twice. So this idea that Austin did not initiate this is crazy to me. I know you want to keep your white base, Stephen A. Smith. I get it. Damn. I understand you want to keep your viewership. You want to keep people watching you. The white people is where the money's at. I get it. The conservatives pay well. They tip you on your Patreon. They support you. I get that. But I want those conservatives, if you happen to be watching this channel, I want you to understand this is commonplace in some environments. If you put your hands on somebody and you don't know them, expect anything to happen. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying this is what happens. It could happen. It could happen. It would not be out of the realm of possibility. What we would say in the 90s. And I'm an old man now. I'm an OG now, I don't know how it goes like in these neighborhoods now. I hear tell it's worse now. I hear people talk as if things are worse in the streets than they even were in the 90s. Hence the high amount of body counts that occur on weekends, even Juneteenth. Sorry, people that got beef with one another, they don't stop because it's a holiday. I don't know what Stephen A. I don't know what he's smoking, frankly. Sounds like he's high. He was high when he did this segment. And I just want to reiterate, this is not a good thing. But if you put your hands on somebody, all bets is off on how that person responds. I do want to add this too, because I'm on this, I want to say this. Because I think some people need the benefit of this. Ain't nothing more dangerous than somebody who's afraid. I say there's nothing more dangerous than a person who's afraid. See, a person that's afraid will act or behave or react erratically. A person who's afraid is unpredictable. A scared person will do anything. The last thing you want is a scared person. You ever been robbed? I've been robbed. You ever had somebody pull a gun on you? You know what's more nerve-wracking, more fearful than a person pulling a gun on you and robbing you? It's a person pulling a gun on you and doing like this. Give me the money, man. Anybody ever got robbed and somebody doing like this? That had me like trying to coach him through the process. Look, bro. Hey, man, hey. Oh, hey, man, no problem. No, calm down. I'm cool. Hey, whatever you want. Hey. What? Calm down. I ain't gonna run. I ain't got no gun. I ain't gonna do. You good? We can make this real smooth transaction. But see, when a person's afraid, you don't know what they're gonna do. They'll panic and shoot you accidentally. And see, if you are ever going to fight somebody, you don't know what they got on them, and if they let you know that they're afraid, that's not your time to pounce. That's not the time for you to bully them. That's your time to leave them alone, because a scared person is liable to stab you, shoot you, come back and shoot you, because they're afraid. They're afraid of you. A person that's afraid of you will go into fight or flight mode very quickly. This is just things I learned in the streets. I mean, I don't know what Stephen A. grew up. It appears maybe he grew up with a silver spoon. But I think what it is he has his head up somebody's buttocks. He's looking at a payday. Once again, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's great that it's this way. I'm just saying, whenever you deal with somebody and they let you know that they don't want to fight you, don't bully them. It's the worst thing you could do. They'll never forget that you bullied them. You've created an enemy for life, and if they have anything on them and they're really afraid of you, and they know they can't fight you, they know they can't beat you, what are they going to do? What's a person going to do when they feel outnumbered? When they feel outmatched? When you got 4 or 5 of you in a tent, and it's just them. Yeah, we hear Stephen A. say, he didn't have a reason to fear for his life. You don't get to tell somebody what that is. You don't get to determine for them if they should be afraid. You don't get to make that decision. They get to make that decision. Adrenaline is not something you cut on and off. Adrenaline occurs naturally in a person. I don't want to make this whole conversation monopolized. We got to let Stephen A. say a little bit more. I just want to make it clear here. Stephen A. is not being real at all. I got some conservatives. They're not bad people. Some of them, they just don't know how it goes. They have a warped idea. I'm not talking about people that are bigoted or racist. I'm talking about people that mean well, who just don't understand. Yes, I know you want to pull up your dukes. Well, if a person don't want to put up their dukes, you leave them alone. You do not press the issue. Because they may have a cleat tool. And if they say they got something, you should just believe them. You shouldn't go, well, I'm going to do this anyway because I don't believe they have something. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's what happened here. So I'm real glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that Karmelo Anthony has a new defense team. This is going to handle his appeal. Because not everybody's Stephen A. Smith, and I think the Stephen A. Smiths of the world need to have several seats. Let them finish up. We got a little bit more to do.
Hearing anything. Why is that? I bring up Juneteenth, ladies and gentlemen, to remind you what Juneteenth is. It's a U.S. holiday that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. That's what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth.
You don't already know that? You need to read that off your piece of paper, Stephen A. See, I mean, it's coming back to the things that Trump said about you, man. You really need to read that Juneteenth commemorates the freedom of slaves, the freeing of slaves, enslaved peoples. You really need to read that. Whatever bullshit you're going to read now. As if people that are doing crime take a break. people that are riding on their ops would take a break on Juneteenth because it's so sacred. I mean, are we living in reality or what?
June 19th, Emancipation Proclamation issued by Abraham Lincoln in January of 1863. This is what we're talking about.
Now, what we were talking about is they gave you way too much money, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, man, how you get all that money not being good at your job? It's obvious you just printed out some shit, ran up here to talk, and have nothing to say, but you are still managing. You're still managing. Excuse me, guys. He's still managing to point fingers at black people and chalk down on black people in the process. And I don't get it. I mean, this guy didn't even come prepared for his own segment. You know? He wants to chastise black people because he said we're not upset about Chicago enough. like that's our fault. You know, I live in DC, man. I actually live in Maryland. But let's see if we can find the other clip, man, because he a trip. We're gonna go to this other clip with Stephen A. This is the other part he says before I move on past him. Let's see if we can find this other clip with Stephen A. Let's see if this is it. This might be it.
To be real about the evidence that we're
Here we go.
looking at and go from there and pick to be real about the evidence that we're looking at and go from there and pick our fights and pick our battles. It's important to do that. Again, I don't like the idea of Karmelo Anthony being sentenced to 35 years at all. I don't like
Stephen A. Smith is, you know what? He's the worst type of brother, man. He wants to be a politician so bad, he's already politicking. In fact, he's been doing this his whole career. He throw a brother under the bus, then he'd go back and say something soft, like he don't really look at it that way, and maybe they shouldn't have done that. Then he'd go back and say the opposite side. I mean, he's been doing this his whole career. He's been a tap dancer forever. Look at the tap dance.
the makeup of the jury, not having an African-American on it at all. I get it. I understand.
I thought you said, Stephen A. Smith, you said there's no law against not having black people on jury. You said that in the opening of your segment. Now you're saying, what are you saying? Now you're saying the opposite. See what I'm saying, man? We don't need this type of people trying to be political. We don't even need them doing political commentary. You know, if you disagree with me, you're going to disagree with me. It's fine. I'm not going to be on both sides of the issue because I want to keep you watching. And I get it. You get tired of me, you disagree with me enough, you leave. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go 50% this way and 45% this way and do another 5 that way and the next story do 45 that way and do a little bit on this side. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to insult the hell out of you. There are going to be some things you disagree with me about. But I'm going to be firm about those things. And I'm going to articulate my position. What I'm not going to do is the Stephen A. Smith. Look at this.
And I don't know all of the specifics that went into the jury ultimately being made up of what it was made up of. I'm quite sure that there were blacks that were interviewed before being placed on the jury before the
Stephen A. don't even know what he's talking about. He don't even know the composition of the jury. Nor does he know why did they end up with no black people, what the arguments are, nothing. He don't know the positions. He just said, this is why I can get people to watch me. I would hate for people not to see my channel this week. Let me get out here and talk about this. This is what I'm saying, guys. Stephen A. Smith is complaining about Chicago, but he's not talking about Chicago. He's talking about Karmelo Anthony. A story he has not been talking about because it would have cost him something to pick a side. He knew black people would be mad at him if he didn't support Karmelo Anthony. And a lot of conservatives would be mad with him if he did. So he's been mostly quiet. And now he's doing the math and he said, well, okay, it seems like the tide's turning and the conservatives are louder and they're more upset, which they are. They're really upset. So now that's the direction he's going. It is what it is.
decision was made as to who would be placed on the jury and who wasn't. But the point of the matter is that I don't like it. I don't like the look. I don't like the optics because we're here having these questions. But what's inescapable and what's undeniable is that Karmelo Anthony said he put his hands on me, so I stabbed him.
That's not what he said. So now I'm getting upset because you already said that. That's not what he said. He didn't say, so I stabbed him. Y'all got to listen to him. He's a slick-talking phony. He's a slick-talking phony scumbag. Yeah, so I'm name-calling again. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to be the name-calling guy. That's not good. Well, what do you say about a guy that's putting words in the mouth of someone and taking them all out of context in order to suit his viewer base? That's not what he said. Doesn't mean he was right, but that's not what he said. It doesn't mean it was a good thing, but that's not what he said. He didn't say, he put his hands on me, so I stabbed him. That ain't what he said. He said he put his hands on me. I told him to put his hands on me. That is not what Stephen A. just said. He said, I told him not to put his hands on me, so I stabbed him. We see there's a difference, right? We see there's a difference. Folks, I understand that Stephen A. Smith will never have the guts, the courage, the backbone, the spine to come on, or the fairness to come on this channel. I understand that. I understand that. We've reached out to him a number of times. I'm not conservative. I'm not a conservative, so I expect it. If you're not Officer Tatum, Candace Owens, or Anton Daniels, he don't got no time for you. I understand that. We'll bring on Gary Chambers. I don't know why he brings on Gary Chambers. They must be reasons why that's working. I don't know what that is. But the point is, Stephen A. is being very disingenuous. And I had a real problem with that. And fundamentally, I find that really distasteful. It's really upsetting to me because I'm not a sellout. I'm not a cornball. I will not do that for money. I'm gonna try to end this segment on that, kind of let it go. Lord knows we've been over this terrain long enough. Plus, I got the view. The view's gonna start.
Every group on this earth understands that you're in a team relationship. Racism is a team sport. It came into existence as a team. You play as a team or you lose by default. And only with black folk do people get upset when black folks start talking about coming together and uniting and working together and cooperating together, buying from each other and supporting each other. You know why? For a simple reason that everybody understands. When you come together and unify, that signifies strength. And right now, everybody right now is pimping and hustling black folk. They've been pimping and hustling black folk for 400 or 500 years. We spend approximately 97% to 98% of all our money outside of our own community, as an example. And we don't practice group economics. We don't practice group politics. All that makes, when we spend 98% of all our money outside of our community, what that does, it makes the other groups enriched. They now are living off of two incomes. They live off of 100% of their money and 98% of our money.
Ever since Black Americans started being more intentional about where we spend our money and focusing more on ourselves, a whole lot of people have become bothered, and I mean big bothered. Now, some of the people who are bothered really shouldn't be. I can understand why some Asians may be bothered. It's affecting their pockets. Truly can. But I came across this clip of one of them folks women really whining and complaining about us. Guys, before we get into the foolishness, please be sure to like this video, as well as check us out on the African Diaspora News Channel app, okay? Let's get into it.
Y'all don't even know how fucking stupid you look. It's all this boycott Asian businesses. Let's hurt their pockets. All right, you stupid fuck. I need you to sit down for this one. But do you understand, because of the way that you vote, how much of our shit is sourced from China? You cannot walk into a single solitary store in this country without most of the shit on the shelves saying made in China on the bottom. So what kind of dumb shit is this? Like, what kind of stupid are you guys? Really? Like, it's like you guys are devolving. It's fucking wild to me. Like, I have no words.
Now, what does this have to do with her? What does this have to do with her? Why is she sitting here inserting herself in a discussion about Black Americans and what we do with our money? I mean, I don't think this affects her at all. So I'm confused as to why she felt the need to put her pale nose in business that doesn't pay her. Or maybe she's just looking for another excuse to insult Black people. They good at that too. Okay, because at this point, we just live rent free in their minds. Now, one thing that has a lot of people upset right now is truly the fact that Black Americans are making a conscious decision to redirect some of our dollars into our community. Why is it so controversial when Black Americans do it? Every community circulates dollars within its own community. Every group talks about creating businesses, jobs, wealth, and support for their own. It's only when Black Americans do it that it starts becoming a topic of conversation. It's the same behavior with these Karens that we always see. A Karen questioning people about where they are, what they're doing, or them feeling entitled to an explanation for something that has absolutely nothing to do with them. Again, what Black people do with our money, or who we choose to spend it with, or where we choose to withdraw it from, is none of her business. Why shouldn't we invest in our dollars in our own community? Why shouldn't we support our Black-owned businesses? Why shouldn't we create opportunities for our own people? I could care less if it bothers them. See, what she's doing is nothing more than anti-Blackness disguised as concern. It's the same false narratives they've always created, the same misleading information presented as the truth, because she don't know what she's talking about, and the same talking points that racist white people have been using for years. Black people don't owe her or anyone else an explanation for what we choose to do with our money. There is no law that says we have to spend our money with other people. And the fact that so many people are bothered more about us taking our money from them than respecting the people who've helped them speaks volumes. See, she looks stupid minding our business and involving herself in something that has nothing to do with her. Also, if she was as smart as she thinks she is when it comes to Black people, she will realize that statistics show a very different story. It's her people who have historically been bothering Asians with violence. But she knows so much. See, they may have used Black faces to help push an anti-hate crime bill, but the history is the history. And it ain't gonna change just because she all of a sudden concerned about them now. She's sitting up here on the internet, but yet her group is the one that dropped Agent Orange on them, bombed their countries, mocked their culture at different points in history. See, they keep talking about us taking the money, but they don't see why. They don't want to see why we're taking the money away, because the people who've helped them with the 14th Amendment, you know, the Civil Rights Bill that has helped 22 million of them here. The people who helped you, they're tired of being disrespected. And we deserve an opportunity to fix our community as well. That's part of the problem. Every community circulates dollars within their own. And that creates more businesses, more jobs, and opportunities for their people. It also helps with our generational wealth and our economic stability. They've been talking about how 300,000 women have lost their jobs under Trump. If we were focused on our own communities and our businesses, it wouldn't matter. Generational wealth has been literally taken from Black Americans. They've literally sabotaged us throughout history. So it's okay for us to focus on ourselves. We need to, because clearly us focusing on you ain't helping either. What's helping you more than it's helping us? Didn't you tell us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps? Or is that a problem now that we're actually doing it again, by the way? If you have a problem or don't like looking at us support each other, then stop worrying about it. If you don't have a problem with other groups focusing on themselves as well, stay out of our business. Stay out of our business. It's our spending power, and we have every right to use some of our $1 trillion spending power on our community. I love seeing the Black businesses do well. I love seeing our people advertise. I see so many things, guys, that I didn't even know existed. So many businesses, even in my area. And it's okay for us to support our own first. See, we've been programmed literally to take care of everybody else seriously before we take care of ourselves. It's okay for us to put ourselves first sometimes. These people have never supported us. When is the last time you've seen a group of Asian women standing outside a Black business for food or to get their nails done or something like that? I don't recall ever seeing it. Let me know in the comments if you have ever seen it. Have you ever seen Asian women inside a Black business waiting on a service or food? If she's so bothered, why don't her community step in to help them keep their generational wealth? I mean, they do have more access and more resources, so there should be no pressure on Black people to do what they're not doing themselves. Better yet, why don't you let Asians open up businesses, more businesses in your community so you can help them out? Also, why don't Asians support their own businesses? There are plenty of them, 22 million to be exact, because of Black Americans fighting for the Civil Rights Bill and the 14th Amendment, which they use to anchor more children here. They can easily support their own communities and keep those businesses thriving. It's not Black Americans' responsibility to keep their businesses afloat. They have not kept ours afloat, and they're responsible for themselves. This right here is why I tell people all the time that these white women are not our friends. I don't care how much they smile at you. I don't care how friendly they appear to be or how much these people hold the door for you, liberal or conservative. At the end of the day, many of them are the same. Never forget history, ladies. Never forget that these men, alongside their husbands, were enslavers in the U.S. Never forget the lynchings and the violence inflicted on our Black men and women, or the towns that's been destroyed. Unfortunately, many people like this boo-boo the fool have perfected the art of pretending to be our friend. Also, ma'am, one more thing, since you know so much, please be careful. You don't want to find yourself being boycotted either, because you're sitting your dumb behind on the internet insulting people you also need, ma'am. What I would strongly suggest is for her not to be stupid and let her mouth write her a check that she can't cash, because see, they can get the work too. In fact, Black Americans have given her people the work. So she probably want to learn history. That way she won't be up here like some of the Asians crashing out and deleting the videos because we've taken our money away and it's all legal. Now, Operation Breadbasket. Let's talk about that really quick. Most people know Dr. King for his speeches, his marches, and his dream, but few know of one of his most powerful economic strategies, Operation Breadbasket. Now, this just wasn't about civil rights and words. This was about money and morals. Operation Breadbasket was created in early 1960s under Dr. King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference in Atlanta, and it was later led by Reverend Jesse Jackson. And it was built on a simple idea. If a business profits from the Black community, then that business should hire Black workers, promote Black talent, and buy from some of the Black-owned companies. That's no more than right. Black Americans were spending billions of dollars every year, yet those same businesses refused to hire any of us. They constantly mistreated Black Americans and didn't want us in a lot of their stores. So pretty much we were feeding an economy that shut us out. And that's not just disrespectful, that's theft on another level. So Operation Breadbasket flipped the script and it organized boycotts. And the message was clear. If you don't respect our presence, you won't get our dollars. Just that simple. If you want our money, then you must invest back in our people. And that pressure worked. When the community pulled back its money together and stood firm, those companies folded very fast. Jobs opened up, contracts were awarded, promotions happened. Millions of dollars went back into Black hands, and not out of charity, but out of justice. So let's be real. Those companies suddenly didn't start loving Black people. They respected the power of the Black dollar, and that's what mattered. We didn't beg to be liked or demanded to be treated fairly as citizens who built this country. Now, fast forward today, our spending power is now in the trillions, and that same leverage still exists today. You need another one? Here's another one, ma'am. Now, before you folks started acting like Black people had never used economic boycotts before, let me take you back to 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, when our people got tired of being disrespected and got the white community there all the way together. Now, most people know about Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat, but what many don't know is that the bus boycott became one of the most successful economic protests in American history for Black people. Back then, a bus ride cost about 10 cents, and every day, Black men and women spent their hard-earned money riding those buses to work, to school, to church, and businesses throughout the city. And we were paying into a system, and we helped keep it running. But despite being the majority of the customers, Black riders were still expected to sit in the back. If the white section filled up, Black passengers then had to give up their seats. Imagine that. Your money spends the same, but you're still being treated like a second-class citizen. However, on December 1st, 1955, Ms. Rosa Parks was arrested after refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger. But before her, I want to note there was Miss Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old Black girl who had also refused to give up her seat months earlier. You see, Black Montgomery finally said enough is enough, and they took their money away, and it was perfectly legal. Now, instead of continuing to support a system that disrespected them, Black residents stopped riding the buses. They walked, they carpooled. Churches organized transportation. Some people even walk miles to work every single day rather than spend one dime with a company that did not respect them. And you can't do nothing but respect that. Now, the boycott lasted 381 days from December 1955 until December 1956, and the impact was immediate. The Montgomery bus system began losing significant revenue. Now, historians estimate that the company was losing thousands of dollars as buses that once depended on Black riders traveled nearly empty. Downtown, businesses felt the pressure too. The city was forced to confront the reality that it ignored for years. Black dollars mattered. And this wasn't just about a seat on a bus. This was about dignity, self-respect, and understanding the power of collective action. For more than a year, guys, ordinary men and women stayed disciplined. Domestic workers, teachers, ministers, laborers, students, entire families sacrificed and worked together toward a common goal, and it paid off. The economic pressure created by the boycott, combined with the landmark court case Browder versus Gale, helped bring segregation on Montgomery's buses to an end. And let's do one more. Just one more. But I'm going to flip it. Here's something we did even before integration, and we didn't try to be accepted. You see, in Winston-Salem, we had our own bus line. That's why I'm telling you, make no mistake, Black American freedmen never needed any of these other groups. They needed and still need us. That's why many of them are crashing out online. That's why you have people like this Karen also sitting up here talking greasy about Black folks over something she's not even doing. Back in the 1920s, segregation was a big part of everyday life. Now, in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the city's trolley service did not operate in Black neighborhoods, leaving many Black residents without reliable transportation to get to work, school, church, or just run errands. But instead of waiting for someone else to solve the problem, 13 Black taxi drivers pooled their life savings together and created the Safe Bus Company. Now, built by our people and for our people, they hired Black mechanics, Black drivers, Black accountants, and all Black staff. And fares started at just 5 cents, and the community responded immediately, and the company quickly grew. So as demand grew, so did the business. Now, Safe Bus expanded its fleet and eventually operated dozens of buses, carrying as many as 12,000 passengers a day while serving only 20% of the city. And at one point, the company was grossing more than $10,000 a week, an impressive amount of money for that time period. Now, by 1955 alone, Safe Bus reportedly grossed approximately $425,000, my Lord, yearly. A transportation company built by Black Americans, funded by Black Americans, staffed by Black Americans, and supported mostly only by Black Americans. And it became one of the most successful Black-owned businesses in Winston-Salem. Unfortunately, that success would not last forever. Now, as integration expanded, many Black-owned institutions that had been created out of necessity struggled to survive. And in 1972, the Winston-Salem Transit Authority purchased the Safe Bus Company, bringing it into one of the most successful Black-owned transportation businesses in the region. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching the video. And just know that you are truly appreciated. And so
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
Hey. Oh, I didn't know you was back here, girl. I ain't even see you. Oh. Nah, just making sure.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask. It doesn't matter who we are. There's an old saying that if something can't go on forever, then it won't. And there have been those who have been betting that Black people's discontent at the way they've been treated by racist businesses, well, it would be just a blip on the map. It was going to be just a flash in the pan. Well, if that's what they were counting on, at least at first blush, so far, so bad. Seems that Black folks are making it a point to spend their money where they're appreciated and not where they're attacked. And while it's not some across-the-board world-shattering maneuver, it doesn't need to be. What it needs to be is a good start. And at the risk of seeming like I'm engaging in linguistic nitpicking or just basically trying to haggle over words, there is a reason why you don't see me using the word boycott very often. And here's the reason why. These other groups, they never patronize Black businesses. Now, do you see or have you ever seen any of these other groups announcing that there's a boycott on Black businesses? Do you see any of them saying that? Don't spend your money with Black businesses. We don't spend our money with those people. Don't go anywhere near there. Do you see them saying that? Of course not. They made boycotting black businesses their standard operating procedure. They don't have to say there's a black boycott that they've instituted. They just go ahead and do it. Their boycott against black businesses is just normal. There's nothing special about it for them. So when it comes to black people and our economic practices, we need to make sure that we do more than just have a quote unquote boycott. What needs to happen is the institution of a new normal. And there's really nothing to stop us from doing it. That's why you had that clown a couple of weeks ago saying that where black people are going to get their hair weave from or get their takeout from. This is what happens when people get used to painting their own reality, when they've only seen things one way and they get the idea that it can never change. He didn't understand that the real problem is that the money's only been going in one direction. If you want to call yourself retaliating for people exercising economic discretion, then you have to show that you can cut black businesses off for income in some way or another. But these racists don't do any business with black people to begin with. That's been the entire problem. They don't spend any money with black businesses and they don't hire black people either. They made a perfect loop of acquisition when it comes to black people. The dollars only flow in one direction toward themselves. They make it a point not to spend money with black people and to make sure that the only interaction that they have is when black people are spending money with them. Well, when you do that, you've also created an economic dynamic with a single point of failure. You make yourself utterly dependent on a particular customer base. And if that customer base decides to call you out or to cut you off, then there's nothing you can do to them other than rage and fume. You can't retaliate. Everyone's been completely and thoroughly comfortable, and they've been conditioned to be used to harming black people, killing black people, telling black people, we don't need your business. They've gotten used to the idea that they can do it with impunity. Well, that's because they've been looking for white supremacy to assure them, oh, don't worry, the white supremacist system isn't going to punish you. And they just assume, well, obviously black people can't do anything about it either. They're finding out differently. That's what's happening, and this is a good thing. Black folks need to put their foot down and tell a friend. See, what the bootlicks, the shills, the ops, and these bot accounts want to do is to tell you, well, unless you change the entire world, you might as well not do anything at all. Now, since when has anyone or any group changed the entire world? What you do is you change where you are, and that starts at the individual level. Don't worry about changing every square inch of planet Earth. You worry about changing what it is that you do. That's how Tetherfest was brought to its knees. It wasn't a matter of black folks deciding, oh, we're going to be cutting off all of these little foreign flags and such from around the world, wherever they are. It doesn't matter if they're in media or if they're in universities or corporate America, wherever. No, what they said was, we're going to start with this one. And that's how all great movements start, with a single step. You don't start off with the goal of, we're going to crush every single anti-black racist immediately today. Instead, it's a matter of you start off by showing you can break one of them, and you expand from there. White supremacy's biggest lie has been that your voice doesn't matter. That's the lie they've told us since 1865, and that's the lie that they still repeat the most today. It's brainwashing. It's a lie. It's a cowardly moral fraud pushed by our enemies and also repeated by the lazy and the worthless among us. This has been the enemy within. The sad truth is you've got a lot of black people who don't want to be free and don't want to be empowered either. They don't want to see things change because these fools are self-hating Negroes. They have internalized racism, and when you look at how cowardly and worthless these self-hating clowns are, it makes sense that they would hate what they see in the mirror. I agree with them on their own lack of value or worth. But when it comes to the black collective, they're dead wrong. These individuals who try to undermine us from within, they don't know themselves, mainly because they don't like the fact that they're black. And as a result, they can never actually understand you. They can't understand that your voice has power. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If your voice didn't matter, then why have they made their number one priority to attack us, to repress us, to demoralize us, to manipulate and deceive us? What is their number one economic priority? To make sure that we have no resources. You don't spend the hundreds of years and billions of dollars that they've put into oppressing us if we have no power. Yes, even the minority of us who fight. Who do you think COINTELPRO was about? Was that the FBI running ops on the tens of millions of black people in America? Or were they spending all of that money, all of that time, and all of those deaths to try to take down the handful who were actually fighting white supremacy? The enemy understands how warfare works, and demoralizing the enemy is a key part of that. Every time some moron comes in my comments posting that old, I feel so depressed, we can't win, I just block them. They're either a sock puppet account for the enemy or there's some lazy bootlick. Either way, they're not allowed to infest this channel. Because these are the very people who tell you that black folks would never spend money with other black people, and yet that's what's starting to happen now.
Y'all, when I walked in there, I gasped. I was like, y'all black. All the stuff y'all said black nail techs don't do, yeah, they do. They take walk-ins. They do feet. The customer service was freaking top tier. I would love to see y'all wrapped around the building with y'all garden chairs just outside, making a statement that we're going somewhere else.
Now, is this something that's going to go on forever? That is entirely up to us. But the point is, it can be done. And that's the thing that the enemy, whether it be the white supremacists or their lazy bootlicks, don't want you to know. They don't want you to think or act for yourself. That's why they're always screaming their lies. They're hoping that if they do that, you will never hear the truth that you can hear in your own mind, in your own heart, in your own soul. One of the great things about what's happening is that it didn't come from these Negro misleaders. It came from the soil, the grassroots. You didn't see the NAACP or the National Action Nitwits or NCOBRA or any of these other corrupt and crumbling fossils from a bygone era leading the charge on this. The NAACP has been spending decades trying to detach and decouple themselves from the identity of blackness. And when you look at how these guys have been moving and operating since at least the 1960s, they've been successful on that front. They've been trying to make themselves some multiracial, intersectional organization, and they want money from the very racists who black people are refusing to spend money with. Let these changes that are going on become the new normal, for you if for no one else. The same way that everybody else has been making it a point to refuse to patronize black businesses, you need to make it a point to do business with black businesses. Because when you control your dollar, you also control your fate. And through you, you control the fate of your community. You see, what's going on here whenever people try to make excuses for why they don't spend their money with black businesses, that's not about money on their part. It's not that they don't have enough money to do so, and it's not even about a lack thereof. The black people who choose to spend their money with anti-black racists, they're not doing it because of a lack of money. They do it because of a lack of self-respect. So to the anti-black trash, the white supremacist scum, like the YouTube admins, what's going on here isn't about hate. It's about love, self-love. This is not about bringing anyone's business down. Black people are not sitting around waiting to see when these racist businesses are going to go belly up. That's not the goal. This is about establishing a new normal, one that operates in our interest and to our benefit. This is not about sending a message. You want to send a message? Call Western Union. What this is about is dropping a bad habit. There were a lot of problems that went along with segregation, but about one of the only good things that came out of it, other than never having to hear bluegrass music or see a racist, smelly Confederate in polite company, was that black people went to other black folks for what we needed and wanted. The black dollar stayed in the community, certainly a hell of a lot longer than it does today. The white media tries to make things like Green Book seem like some form of horrible oppression that we even had to do that, when in reality, it was a directory of black businesses. It was the ultimate black business network. But with skillful manipulation of the media, they try to make it seem like we were being left out. And when you look at who it was who most wanted to be close to white society, it was all kinds of intersectionalists, shall we say, the Bayard Rustin contingent, if you read my meaning, individuals who define their entire empty existence by interracial sexual access and their ability to get as close to white society as possible. These were the individuals who were ready to break their necks or to break yours in order to get closer to white daddy. The problem that they had with Green Book is that there were black people there. That's how deep the self-hate runs for a lot of these Negroes. When it comes to goods and services, we did as good a job as anyone else, and in many cases, a superior job. When we decided to let some handkerchief heads get us on the integration bandwagon, we integrated ourselves right out of whatever power we had. Yes, there were certain arenas and areas that we wanted access to, but when you look at the fact that, as Dr. John Henrik Clarke pointed out, the civil rights movement was actually nothing more than a consumer rights movement, you understand that our priorities were wrong. When I was growing up, I saw what was the end of what had been those black-owned restaurants and cafes and black bookstores and black masons and carpenters and mechanics and physicians. Today, in the rundown areas of town, you might see a few burned out husks of what used to be black businesses in black neighborhoods 60 or 70 years ago. Some of your grandparents, or if you're a Gen Xer, parents, told you about how this or that place was a black-owned business. This was a place where black folks went to. It used to be this or that. These are the things that had existed during the first half of the 20th century. These were places of black commerce that endured for generations, and yet they began to die off like flies starting in the 1960s. That's no coincidence. Black people were encouraged to abandon black businesses and began looking for excuses to justify this self-destructive behavior. The excuse du jour that still gets dragged out today is that this or that black business needs to lower their prices. And when that lie fails, there's always the old standby: bad customer service. You hear that one more than any other. And while there will always be some off-code fools who have bad manners, it's also true that the most rude, hood fool with a stank attitude you can imagine never did anything like what Rick Chow did. Black people are getting a refresher course on what bad customer service actually is. And sure, you're always going to have some folks who decide that they're going to be obstinate on that point, but reality has a way of softening up hard heads. So let this economic reckoning continue. And let it strengthen the black businesses who need it. Let it be the beginning of black people exercising financial discipline, mastering their dollars and getting it to go in the directions of their choosing, rather than just floating along with whatever. Because when you do, what's going to happen is you're going to find that a whole lot of folks who have been empowered by your dollar, they're going to find themselves suddenly with nothing at all. And although nobody's really sitting here waiting to see how this is going to affect anyone else, the reality happens to be that as these other folks find that their own would-be business ventures wither on the vine without black support, and what that's going to teach them is not only is anti-black racism bad morality, but it's also financial suicide too. Good day, and be one.
Go figure. Follow me.